This is W.E.B. Du Bois, whom you're discussing here, is Black Reconstruction. That's published in the 1930s, isn't it?
He wrote that when he was in his late 60s.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting ready to say. The reason we're talking about Du Bois is that you're offering him as a counterpoint to the light, paper thin intellectuality that passes for being serious in the anti-racism literature.
There was a moral grandeur to Du Bois. And then you juxtapose it with this comic book version of history where there are superheroes and supervillains, these absurdities where Frederick Douglass is cast as a racist.
This is Kendi.
Yeah, Ibram X. Kendi. Douglass is a racist. Richard Wright is a racist. Phyllis Wheatley is a racist. And the only non-racists are Eldridge Cleaver, Zora Neale Hurston, and Angela Davis. Is this history? Is this serious? It's such woke garbage. It's a disgrace to the memory of those who labored hard.
Amen. Amen.
Out of the limelight. Remember, Du Bois could not get a job in a white university. And quietly in his...
That's because Booker T. Washington cut him off at the knees, isn't it?
Well, I don't, I've read David Levering Lewis's just utterly brilliant biography of Du Bois. That too is a breathtaking achievement, not at the Boisian level, but certainly it's certainly deserving of high regard. But the point is that he labored at Atlanta University, one of the historically Black colleges and universities. He would organize every year these conferences where, because he had connections with the white academics at places like Harvard, where he studied, he would bring them over in order to attend the conference, pass judgment on the scholarly quality of the students he was nurturing. But this was, he had to beg and plead, really, he had to beg and plead to get any dollar in funding. He would, make proposals which were very sophisticated, required a significant amount of financial subsidy to carry out. And he begged and pleaded. Well, Du Bois would never beg, but he had to try very hard to get support for it, and produced really enduring works. And then you have a Kendi. He gets, my understanding is, at Boston University, he gets $500,000 for being the director of the quote-unquote Center for Anti-Racism Studies. He probably gets roughly the equivalent, another $500,000, for being the Andrew Mellon Professor of the Humanities at Boston University. That's the second one's my speculation. The first one I know. Then he speaks the other day at Camden, literally the other day, we're talking about last week, at Camden University branch of Rutgers. He gets $30,000 for 1.5 hours, and a first class ticket, airline ticket. $30,000. Well, this is a scam. It's a very lucrative scam, but it's a scam. It's a scam because, A, it has no scholarly content. It has no intellectual content. It's a scam because it's highly remunerated intellectual vacuity. And it's a scam because rich white folks use the woke people as a protective cover, because they get to say, look how radical we are. Look how cutting edge we are. We invited Ibram X. Kendi, Angela Davis to Martha's Vineyard. In the case of Angela Davis, to lecture on prison abolitionism. We get the frisson of being down with the hood. and paying no price at all. No price at all. Listen, you're old enough to remember, if I can say so, you're old enough to remember when Leonard Bernstein invited the Black Panthers to his apartment for that soiree. And then Tom Wolfe
Radical chic and Mau Mau and the Flycatchers.
Yeah. And he wrote that, I'll give this much to Leonard Bernstein. We can argue about it, disagree. It took a certain amount of courage to invite the Black Panthers because they were being hounded by the government. Now, you may think they were justifiably hounded. I don't, but we could disagree about that. But it took a certain amount of courage. What courage does it take to invite Ibram X. Kendi to Martha's Vineyard? What courage does it take to invite Angela Davis? There is no price at all to be paid for this wokeness. That's why I say it's a triple scam. It's a scam because it's intellectually worthless. It's a scam because it's a very highly remunerated scam. And it's a scam by white folks who want to pretend how cutting edge and radical they are, but having their cake and eating it, not paying any price whatsoever for their liberal wokeness.
Okay, now Angela Davis is this iconic figure in radical circles. What's wrong with her and her case for prison abolition? And I don't support prison abolition. I'm on the record to that effect, but you want to spell it out? Ibram X. Kendi, I don't think is worth discussing. I mean, I don't understand why. Why is there an endowed center at Boston University? I don't get it at all. I mean, I really don't.
Because Jack Dorsey wants to cover himself, so he gave $1 million to Ibram X. Kendi. But wait, when you read Ibram X. Kendi, he says how proud he is of his Black roots, and how proud he is of his Black space, and how proud he is of this Black and that Black and that Black. Well, why didn't he take his $10 million and go to an HBCU? Why did he go to Boston University? He had the option. He said he's so proud. He attended an HBCU. Florida, I can't remember, one of the Florida institutions. Why didn't you take your money there if you're so proud? And you say white people can't understand you. You say that Black people have their own mental processes, Black people have their own language, Ebonics, and so that's what he says. Fine. Then why are you going to a university which, according to you, they can't possibly understand the word you're saying? You say that Black people think differently than white people. Well, that's like me speaking to a Chinese audience that doesn't know any English. Why would I want to establish my anti-racist center in a place where they don't understand the word I'm saying? Then he says education is pointless because white people gain from white privilege and all white people gain from the oppression of Black people. Fine, there's an argument there. I'm not going to parse it. But then why are you talking to white people in the first place? You said education can't enlighten them. It's not possible because their material interest is to preserve the oppression of Black people. Then why are you talking to them? Every time I see you, your audiences are 99% white. Then why are you talking to them in the first place? That doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense.